Hey everyone, I'm back here doing a follow-up video on my Shaddoll combo when I talked about the new cards out of Terminal World 3. The cards got revealed tonight and the cards are pretty amazing, but I wanted to make a follow-up video because it seems like a lot of people are not happy with these cards. In my video I talked about these cards and I said they were really broken, but a lot of other people don't seem to think so, which is pretty crazy to me. Before I talk about the cards though, just know if you haven't seen the cards, I'm going to put them on the screen. The reason why I do this is because I know a lot of people don't really follow Yu-Gi-Oh! Super closely. Sometimes people are getting back into the game and they see one of their favorite archetypes, Shaddolls, are getting new support and they're really excited and they look them up online. They go watch some videos but they don't remember what the cards do. This is why I leave the cards on the screen, just in case you're one of those people and you don't know them. I've been reading a lot of what people have been saying about the new cards and a lot of people don't think they're very good and I think they're crazy. I posted one combo showcasing the new card, but I thought the combo was pretty decent. However, after playtesting a bit more, I think they're a lot better. I didn't really have that much time and I don't really have that much time right now, but playtesting with new cards is always really fun and I do want to share some combos I learned. The biggest complaint that I see from a lot of people are saying that Crystal is too fair of a card and it shouldn't have that restriction on it. Crystal is by far one of the most broken Shaddoll cards they ever gotten. This card is insane because it's a quick effect diffusion summon on the opponent's turn. A lot of people are saying that the new Towers monster's Mesha Rail is too hard to summon and there's no point in summoning it on the opponent's turn. This card is a Towers, but it doesn't interact with the opponent on their turn. It doesn't have a quick effect like that. A lot of people are complaining that the Towers monster is too easy to out because it's affected by Link monsters. Let me just say, I already think the Towers card is really good. Being unaffected by spells and traps is amazing because this card doesn't care about Dark Ruler no more. Very common board breaker cards are not going to affect this card and I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people are forgetting. Another thing too about Mesha Rail is that it's very strong because you're not just going to be dealing with this card by itself, you're also going to have to be dealing with El Shaddoll Winda. I've said this before, but El Shaddoll Winda is one of the most stupid cards that they ever created for a boss monster. This card is super annoying because it's a floodgate and as long as it's face up on the field, both players can only special summon once per turn. That already is a really strong effect, but on top of that it can't be destroyed by spell or traps. I know a lot of people will say destruction effects are not that common anymore, and I do agree with that. There's lots of ways to get rid of a monster without destroying it, but at the same time it's just another layered protection on a floodgate, which is already going to be good. Also, when the card hits the grave, it's just going to get you back Shaddoll fusion, so it's going to make up for the resource that you spent for it. Now Winda's already going to give a lot of decks trouble, but people will say, oh, Winda's pretty fair because you just out the card after you special summon once. A lot of decks will not be able to do that, but just hypothetically assuming that they can do that, that's not the end of Winda. People always talk about Winda in a vacuum like there's only one Winda and they can only summon one Winda per duel. That's not necessarily true. You can summon multiple Windas in a turn. As soon as one Winda hits the grave, you just summon another one, and it's very easy to do so. You can use the effect of Crystal on the opponent's turn, and that's how you get Winda number 1. You have also access to other cards like Shaddoll Schism, which will summon another Winda and then take away a Dark Monster on the opponent's field. You also have El Shaddoll Fusion, which is not as good as Schism, but it will still summon another Winda on the opponent's turn. This is one of the reasons why I don't get why people are complaining about these cards. These cards are insane. You get more than one Winda summon a turn, and if your opponent has to deal with 2 Windas when they go second, that's going to be pretty difficult. Void Release is one of the best cards ever because it searches 3 cards and you can use both effects in the same turn. On top of that, it also discards a card, so you can just search any Shaddoll monster and discard it and you get that effect. I truly don't understand why people think these cards are so bad and people are complaining because these cards seem amazing to me. I have a couple combos here that I want to show you guys how easy it is to summon multiple Windas a turn. I have a 1 card combo and some 2 card combos that I want to show you guys. You will see how easy it is to summon Winda on the opponent's turn and multiple Windas. The first combo is only using 1 card, which is Gale Dogra. If you don't know what this card does, is by paying 3,000 life points you get to send 1 card from your extra deck to the grave. We have 8,000 life points when we start, so we get to use this effect at least twice. A very cool thing about this wave of Shaddoll support is that they actually bridge the archetype together with Infernoids. If you don't know, back in the lore, Shaddoll are connected to Infernoids and they're both the evil archetypes. When Infernoid Evil is sent to the grave, you get to add a Void spell or trap on your deck to your hand. We're going to add Void Release, which is a double search for Shaddoll cards, but also searches an Infernoid monster. It will also discard a card, so you can discard any monster that you added to get that effect. However, before we can activate Void Release, we do need a Shaddoll card in our hand, so we're going to send App Clone to the grave. This card, when it's sent to the grave, will let us add a Shaddoll card from our deck to our hand, so we're going to add Hedgehog and discard it. This will let us get a search for Wendy. So now we're going to activate Void Release and we're going to reveal a monster card, so now we get to add a Shaddoll trap and a spell. The spell doesn't really matter as long as you get a spell card that lets you fusion summon. After we add Schism and Shaddoll Fusion, we're going to discard Wendy. This will trigger the effect of Wendy to special summon Skamata face down. Now we're going to activate Shaddoll Fusion to fuse Skamata and Gale Dogra to summon Shekanaga. This will trigger the effect of Skamata because it was sent to the grave by a card effect to send Crystal to the grave. You're going to banish Crystal, Gale, Dogra, and Skamata so you can summon Mesha Rail. Measure Rail's effect will activate by paying 800 life points to add a Shaddoll card from your deck to your hand. Now here you can either add a monster or El Shaddoll Fusion. If you already have a monster for Shakanaga's effect, you can just add El Shaddoll Fusion. So here we're going to set Shaddoll Schism and El Shaddoll Fusion. On the opponent's turn we're going to Schism, and now we can summon El Shaddoll Winda. You always want to wait until your opponent activates a card effect to special summon a monster. The reason why is that as soon as Winda hits the field and your opponent special summons a monster, that is their only special summon for the turn. It's a lot easier for your opponent to play around when they don't see a Winda, but the fact you can summon Winda in a chain makes it a lot more difficult for the opponent. If for some reason your effect of Winda gets negated, you can just summon a second Winda. You just activate the face down El Shaddoll Fusion and fuse away. This is what I mean about people saying the new Shaddoll cards aren't very good. They're incredibly strong. Dealing with one Winda was already really annoying, but now you have to deal with it twice. On top of that, you have to deal with the boss monster too, which is the towers. The card is unaffected by almost everything. It also adds a card if it stays on the field for your next turn, and on top of that, when it hits the grave, it'll just bring back Winda. These cards are honestly insane. Crystal, Measure Rail, and Void Release are honestly custom cards, and I'm very shocked people are complaining about them. Now the second combo is really cool. We're going to be using Instant Fusion. I'm going to show you how you get around the Crystal lock if you summon a monster that isn't a Shaddoll. You're going to activate Instant Fusion to summon Infernoid Evil, and then you're going to link away that card for Gravity Controller. It's a Link 1 monster that's very easy to summon on the first turn. We don't have a lot of those. Most of the time Link 1 monsters are incredibly locked to their archetype or just very hard to summon for most decks. Infernoid Evil will let us search Void Release, and now we're going to activate this card. Because we revealed Wendy, we have to search a spell and a trap. We're going to search El Shaddoll Fusion and Shaddoll Schism, and then we're going to discard Wendy, and that will special summon Skamata. Now we're going to banish Void Release from our grave so we can add Decatron to our hand and normal summon it because we did not normal summon yet. Decatron's effect will activate to send Deviati to the grave, and now we can negate a monster effect by tributing a monster. We're going to set both of our cards and pass our turn. On the opponent's turn, what we're going to do is activate El Shaddoll Fusion by fusing Gravity Controller and our face down Skamata. So now we have a window on the field, and the effect of Skamata will activate because it was sent to the grave by a card effect. We're going to send Crystal to the grave, and because Crystal was sent to the grave by a card effect, we can fusion summon. This is where we get to summon Measure Rail, which is very strong because you establish the tower monster plus a Winda. If anything happens to Winda and it leaves the field, you'll get a card back from the grave, and then you just activate Shaddoll Schism and summon another Winda. If your opponent has a dark monster on the field, you get rid of that, and this is really good. This is what I mean about how annoying the Towers monster plus Winda is. This is what I mean about this new support being so annoying. The Towers monster by itself is not that bad, but when you have to deal with multiple Windas, it's so bad. So for the last combo, I'm going to show you a Mathematician combo. This card is really old and all the way back from Dragon of Legends. What this card does is when it's normal summoned, you get to send a level 4 or lower monster from your deck to the grave, which will be Skamata. Skamata's effect will activate because it was sent to the grave by a card effect. You'll send Crystal to the grave, and this is a 1-card Measure Rail. You banish the Mathematician, the Skamata, and the Crystal to summon Measure Rail. Measure Rail's effect will activate to get you a search for Void Release. You're going to activate Void Release and reveal Shaddoll Fusion, so you get to search a monster and a trap. You're going to discard Windy, which will summon Hedgehog from the deck. You're going to banish Void Release to get a search for Decatron, and you can actually fusion summon here. I know Crystal is not one of the best ones, but you have a fire and a Shaddoll monster, so you can make that card if you want. The only reason that I did this was because Crystal is not the worst thing ever, but I just wanted more Shaddoll monsters in my grave. This is because I set Schism, and I want to be able to summon Windows on the opponent's turn. Overall, I think the support is amazing, and I'm still very surprised that people don't like these cards. I think these cards are incredibly fun to play with, and I think the approach of this deck is going to be completely different. When I saw the first Shaddoll Fusion monster, I thought this was going to be some type of new combo deck, but reading these cards, it makes me think it's better as a control deck. The idea is that you don't summon that many monsters, but you just fusion summon Winda a ton of times on the opponent's turn. I think that's pretty decent, but obviously you will still play the combo stuff if you want a combo. You can fit everything into the same deck pretty much for free. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys find the Shaddoll support as cool as I do, even though I think Winda is a completely horribly designed card. I think if the stuff actually does become meta relevant, it's gonna be so annoying. Can you just imagine if you lose a dice roll, you have to deal with multiple Windas every turn? You're gonna have to be really careful whenever you special summon something, because if you special summon a monster and it can't out the Winda, then your turn is essentially over. I definitely think Shaddolls might have gotten the best support here. Crystal is so strong, Measure Rail so strong, and they have a triple searcher. I thought the Dragoonity and Tellarknight cards were good until I read these and I was like, man, someone at Konami must really love Shaddolls. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good one. Take care.